Today we are finally finishing the tool shed we've been working on here on the farm for the last 6 months by adding a handmade granite stone wall around the base of the building. But as we start the groundwork we uncover a huge obstacle. There is an old underground cistern right next to the shed and the water pressure in the ground is high. So the question is, can we turn this dirt and grass floor shed on concrete stilts into something that's not only practical but also looks like it truly belongs on a 100-year-old farm? So fall is here, and where we live in Norway that means that it's going to rain from now and all the way to March perhaps. That means that we need all the roof space that we can get, and that means finishing this building. So from the outside it may look mostly finished, and it is from the outside. But if you take a look inside, and if you take a look at the floor here, it's mostly grass. And it's not supposed to be grass. It's supposed to be a gravel base in here. So we need to do some groundwork. So my intention with this building is not only storage, we are also hoping to be able to drive cars and stuff in here when we are working on it. And so we laid a gravel base outside. But as you can see, we had some problems. The really soft black dirt under us were kind of squeezing out of the ground when we were driving over here with the tractor. And so we had to stop. And if you're thinking to yourself, does it really rain as much here as he's complaining about? And the short answer is yes. The rain here does not only come from the skies, it also rains from the ground up. Now obviously, as you can see, when we were digging out here, we hit a drain and it looks like it was clogged, but now we have made an opening in it and water is just pouring out. So we need to relieve this drain and make a new one. Obviously there was a lot of water in the ground here, but I was not prepared for what I was unleashing when I started to dig. It was just no stopping it. The water in the ground had built up enough pressure to push its way through the surface, and while I was letting it free, it came gushing out. No wonder we had such a problem laying the gravel driveway here. The sponsor of this video is Heyday. Now, I really do love farm work, but sometimes I need a break. And so when I take a break, I do the thing that I really love, which is farm work. Heyday is a game that allows me to relax while doing the thing that I love. So in Heyday, you start by taking over an old rundown farm from your uncle, and you can build it up the way that you want to. And this is my farm. These are my pigs, and one of them is ready for harvest. And the way you harvest bacon in this game is a bit more nice than what you do in real life, by putting them in a sauna. Compared to real life, that may not be the way that we do it, but I would rather do this. So one of the things that I really like about this game is that there is no stress. For instance, my crops are finished right now. And that means that I can harvest them, but I can also choose not to. It's not like they will wither and die if I'm not playing at all hours during the day, and that fits me quite well. Another thing I really like about this game is that it doesn't really get boring. As you move along the levels, you will unlock new buildings, new animals, and new activities. For instance, I just repaired my dock, and now I have a big boat here. Another thing that I really like about this game is that you don't have to play it alone. This is my wife's farm, and I can take a stroll here if I want to. And the best thing about this game is that it's completely free to download on all Android and iOS devices. So click the link in the description to download Heyday and try it out for yourselves. Now, it may seem a bit strange to lay this trench straight through the building, but it was actually always my plan to make a trench here, because I would rather have the water from that side going under the building instead of through it. The only thing that I didn't plan on was to dig it that way. So my original plan was to lay the ditch out this way. And the reason I wanted to do that is to catch the water from the gutters on this side and lead it under the building instead of through it. Now I'm sure that somebody are wondering, can't you just go around the building? Well, this is bedrock. The dirt here is about this deep, so I can't dig here. It's just rock. So the next step in my master plan, if you will, is to branch out from this trench and go that way to collect the water from the gutter. So let's get to it. So hopefully we have taken care of the water problem and can move on to the next step. So hopefully now that we have removed all the water pressure from the ground, we can dig up this dirt geyser and hopefully fill in the rest of this driveway without any more problem. So it's a bit uneven here and the ground is a bit soft some of the places. But I think we will leave this for now because we need to carry on with inside. So you guys have seen the weather that we have outside and perhaps you understand then that we need some roof space that we can work under. But I do also need a bit more stable floor than the dirt floor that we are standing on. So we need to do something about that. Before we can do that, we need to remove all of this. I think I'm going to be sore tomorrow. So the ground level is starting to look good now. It's more or less the same all over. It's small differences, but we can adjust that with the shingles. But unfortunately, we are not finished with the digging yet, because I don't think that this is a good idea. We need to remove the grass which is under the wall as well, so that we can also have shingles under the wall, so we don't get as much grass growing into the building. And that brings us to this, and this is a modern art installation, and I will sell this to whoever will give me $1 million for it. Just look at it. It's ugly, it's crooked, it has to be worth a lot of money, right? And for all those that don't want to give me $1 million for this is to keep the lambs out of the building. Now we need to remove this because it's in the way. And of course, while we dig around the building, that means that the lambs can get in wherever they want. And we don't want that. So until we are finished, we need to put up a fence. So the basin here right now looks at least somewhat level, and that means that we can go on with the next phase. Now for the next phase, I want to test out a new tool for the tractor, and that is because the generous guy that came by and gave us this tool, which I have no idea what's called in English, so let me know in the comments field. Now he came by again, and this time he gave us this, and this is a hydraulic top link. So if you're watching this video, thank you so much. This will be of great help. Now let's try it. Now I'll admit I'm no expert in hydraulics and I don't really know what I'm doing here. Of course there's two lines here and there's two sockets, so my guess is one is push and the other one is pull. But this one is already occupied, but the other end just goes back into this block, so I have no idea what this actually does. I think we'll just pull this out and see. And of course I don't know what's what here, so I will just try. I think we'll just need to fire it up and see what happens. At least so far it's no leaks here. The problem is I have never actually used this function before. I don't know what levers is controlling it, but I'm guessing perhaps this one. Let's see. If we pull this a little bit, is something happening? I think this one is stuck. After about half a can of this and some wiggling back and forward with the stick, the tractor that is, things are moving along. It's getting a lot better now. I think it's probably still a bit stuck, but if you use it a bit, then hopefully it will improve. Now, this tractor is due for some serious maintenance, and we are going to make a video about that once things calm down a bit, because let's face it, the list is really long at the time. But anyways, let's continue. When it comes to the gap between the ground and the building, I do have an idea. So let's test it out. So far this is not working. The ground is just too uneven for me to place the stone the way I want to. Now there is of course a lot of people out there who knows how to do this, and unfortunately
I'm not one of them. But anyways, we will see what we can get done here. But first I will go and get some gravel so that we have a more stable surface to put the stones on. So I think I'm happy about this. Now you could probably say a lot about this, and I'm sure that many will, but this is purely for aesthetics. It has nothing to do with keeping the building up. That's the concrete pillars jobs. This is mostly for decoration and a little bit for keeping the lamps from running under the building. Now initially my plan was to do this all the way around the building, but I don't think there was enough stones left there to do that, and I don't know if I have anywhere else where I can go and gather more. We have to think about something else for that. Until then, we need to do the other side as well. Now, to be honest, I think this one turned out a little worse than the first one. But of course, we used all the best stones on that. And these weren't that easy to make a good wall with. So I think we'll leave it like this. It's okay, it's just for decorations. I think it would be beautiful to continue the stone walls all the way around the building. But I don't think we have enough stones for that. Ew, I think the cats have been here. So my plans are instead to use the leftover slates from the original barn roof and see if we can make a wall with these. And I think that can be really beautiful. I think this can turn out nice. And also, this is very durable. These are probably more than 100 years old and they can last for 1,000 years more. Now the only question is, how do we fasten these without breaking them? I don't think it would be a good idea to try to drill a hole in them. I'm sure I would break them. I think perhaps if I fasten one of these in front of it and fasten it under here, then we can keep it in place. I think we will go for this solution. So let's go and get some more of these. Yesterday, when I removed the cardboard casting from the concrete pillars, I discovered something that I don't like. This one has a big crack. It looks like it's actually broken. And I don't understand how this has happened, because we made a rebar mesh cage that we lowered into each and every one of these. Of course, there's always the possibility that we forgot this one, but who knows? No, I don't think this is a huge problem, because I think the number of pillars that we have used on this building is a bit overkill in the first place. And as long as all the other ones are whole, then they should probably be fine. So it is what it is. I don't think this is a huge problem, but time will tell. So I think what we will do for now is to remove the casting from the rest of the pillars, and hopefully they are all intact. Now we do anyways need to get on with this, because I do need this building for another project which is time sensitive, and the time is running out. And if you want to know what that is, you will just have to watch our videos. So I've removed the casting on all the rest of the pillars, and none of them are cracked, so that is good. Now let's continue with the wall. So I needed to trim this a bit to make it fit over the trench here. The problem is, one little smack with a hammer and this happened. Now there is a technique to trimming these down, but I don't know how to do this. So I'm hoping that I can find one in the pile with the broken roof tiles that would fit. I think this one is promising. So let's see if we can use this one. Now when it comes to the rest of this wall, they will all need to be adjusted. That's because this is not a rock, this is bedrock, and it's really shallow here. I can't stick them down into the ground. And since I don't want to start breaking up the whole slates, that means back to the broken slate pile. And while we're there, I also want to see if I can find some narrow pieces, which we can use to close this gap, because these pillars are protruding so much that we cannot go around them. So let's see what we can find. So the wall is made, and we should probably backfill this gap with something. But the big question is, with what? I think the dirt with grass seeds would look the nicest, but it would also drain really poorly, and I would probably get a lot of moisture into the building. Now gravel would also probably look okay, but it also drains really poorly. But of course, rocks like these drain really nicely, but it's not really nice looking. But we could perhaps have this as a lower layer and then have something else on top. And there we go, instant grass, or should we say moss? But to be fair, that's what most of our fields are made of anyways, so I don't think people will see any difference. Now when the walls are in place, we can fill in the rest of the floor, but before we do that, we need to remove all of this cardboard. Thank you so much Heyday for sponsoring this video, and if you want to try out Heyday, download it from the link in the description and try it out for yourself. Now if you want to see what a typical year looks like on our farm, then take a look at this video next.